Practiced for 16 years. Practiced for a while outside of Knoxville, Tennessee, and most recently up on the north shore of Lake Superior in Duluth, Minnesota, and have come back here to the homeland, so to speak, because I'm originally from Atlanta. I was born in Atlanta and lived here until I was 12. And so before I get started with what we're going to talk about tonight, I thought I'd give you a little bit of an idea of who I am and where I've been and how we came to come back. So when I was 12, we moved a little bit east to Columbia, where I went to high school. Williams-Brice Stadium didn't really look like that when we lived there in the early 80s, but you'll notice a little bit of a sports theme there. But after graduating from high school, I went to the Northeast for a while and went to college up in the Boston area for 4 years, and then after that spent 10 years in New York City, going to medical school and doing training in urology. This is the New York Hospital Cornell Medical Center up on the Upper East Side of New York. The East River is you can kind of see a little bit of water over there. Very nice area, very good training, but got married and had some kids, and the closest patch of grass to my apartment, which was across the street here, over here where you can't see, was in Central Park about a half a mile away. So after finishing training there, we decided we wanted a little bit of more greenery, and so we came back to the south, a little bit north of here in Knoxville. This is obviously not the Georgia game because there are a lot of empty seats in this picture. So I practiced there for 12 years up until 2010, and then had an opportunity to move north to northern Minnesota to start a robotic surgery program for a hospital up there, and so got an idea of what cold weather really is like, because that's real temperature, 33 below with a 52-degree wind chill, a high that day of 16 below. These are some of my kids standing outside of our house after shoveling the walk off this last winter time, so a little bit different. So for various reasons, one of which not really enough business, I decided to come back down to find another opportunity. Have come back down to the Atlanta area. It's been nice because I've got cousins and aunts and uncles and things in the Atlanta area. My mom and my sister live down in Brunswick, and I have a brother over in Columbia still, so it's home for me, and it's a much easier plane ride to see my in-laws, my mother-in-law and sisters-in-law in New York for my wife, so we're back. So we're going to talk tonight about urinary incontinence. Incontinence is the involuntary loss of urine. Normally, no matter how hard you cough, laugh, sneeze, or move, you shouldn't leak. And so sometimes this is an occasional leakage, sometimes it's pretty frequent, and sometimes there's a faucet going on. If you have any one of these problems, I can certainly address them. Almost 33 million Americans suffer from bladder control problems. It's much more common in people that are older. About 85% of the sufferers are women. And if you look at all the women over age 45, 1 in 5 of them have some degree of leakage. So there are lots of folks out there that have trouble. Talked about age. Sometimes some medical problems can make things worse. The heavier you are, the more pressure that gets put on the bladder, and that tends to make you have more stress incontinence. Diabetes affects the muscles and the nerves in the body, and those are very important for bladder function. We'll talk a little bit more about that here in a few minutes, but if you have diabetes over the long haul, you can have trouble with urination. And some people have problems, neurologic problems. They've had a stroke, they have a tumor, they have a spinal injury, they can't walk. The general rule of thumb is that if your legs don't work, your bladder doesn't work either, because the nerves for the bladder come out of the spine below the nerves for the leg. And so any kind of wheelchair person that you ever see around, they all have bladder problems, and a lot of them are incontinent. Pregnancy and childbirth is a big one. Childbirth and pregnancy is an amazing thing, but it's traumatic to get the baby out. And we're going to look at some drawings about that in a few minutes. When ladies go through menopause, there's less estrogen around, and what that does is it thins out the tissues, and it makes it harder for them to kind of close off and hold the urine in, and that can be a problem. People who've had surgery or radiation therapy also have trouble. And then there are some genetic disorders too, which lead to leakiness. So looking at a normal voiding cycle, most people don't really think much about it because it happens without you thinking about it. But normally the bladder should expand and store urine under no pressure, and you should be able to wait until the next rest stop, or go to make it into Belk and find the bathroom before you go. And then there's the voiding phase where things squeeze, okay? And there's also a muscle that holds the urine in the bladder. And so we have two muscles that do the opposite thing at the same time. One, the bladder muscle relaxing and the sphincter muscle contracting to store urine, and then the opposite, contraction of the bladder and relaxation of the sphincter in order to void. And we talked a little bit just a minute ago about things with the nervous system and the nerves for the bladder coming out from the spine below the nerves from the brain, and they can actually come out of the sacrum, which is the tailbone at the base of the spine, so it's very low down in there. And there are three nerves, S2, 3, and 4, the sacral nerves that join together and form the pelvic nerve, and that's the cable, so to speak, that connects the bladder to the brain. Okay, so if you think of your brain like a computer and your bladder like a printer or this projector, then a lot of times the problem is that even though that cable is there, the signal's not getting there. And that's something that we can sometimes utilize to treat different problems. So we talked about S2 through 4. There are some other nerves there too. So these things, they do a number of different things. There's kind of like a multi-lane highway there. You have sensation where the bladder is talking to the brain and telling it how much is in there. There's stretch receptors, so you get an idea of how much the brain knows how much is there. There are pain receptor nerves and temperature receptors as well. So if you think about voiding problems, you can think about it in a couple of ways. One way you can think about functional problems. Some people have trouble storing urine. Other people have problems emptying. And then finally, some people have problems with both. Go ahead. And then if you kind of turn it a little bit, you can think about the location of the problem, whether it's at the bladder level, because you can have an overactive bladder that doesn't store very well, or you can have an underactive bladder that doesn't empty. Alternatively, it can be an outlet problem with the urethra, the urine tube, and it can be overactive, where you won't empty because there's a blockage. That a lot of times is a nerve problem. Or it can be underactive, where it's relaxed and you've got a leaky faucet there. So when you come to see me with leakiness, we do basically the same thing for everybody, and everybody's a little bit different. And what I try to do is really nail down what exactly is the specific problem that person has, and there's an individual treatment plan that we come up with for everybody. And everybody's a little bit different with regard to what the problem is and how much it bothers them and what exactly they want to do to try and make it better. And so we always take a good history and we do a physical exam, and then usually do some form of testing to identify exactly what the problem is and make a plan as far as what would be the best approach to that. So by history, there are basically a couple different kinds of incontinence. There's stress, cough, sneeze, laugh, leak, can't get on the trampoline with the kids anymore, no more jump ropes. And then there's the urgent continence, gotta go now, can't wait. Can't make it to the rest stop, sometimes lose control before you get there. Some people have both, you know, and if you have both, I really spend some time trying to tease out which one of those two problems is the most bothersome, and that usually is the one that we start treating first. Often if you treat one of them, the other one will get better as well. And then there are other causes too, which we'll look at here in a minute, some pictures. So with stress incontinence, involuntary leakage with physical activity, cough, sneeze, laugh, jump, that kind of thing. You might squirt, you might gush. There's different amounts of it, and it's usually due to a weak sphincter. So remember we talked about the outlet, that muscle that holds the urine in, and for whatever reason that muscle is not able to hold back the urine when there's pressure put on the bladder. So normally, no matter how hard you cough, strain, push, or exercise, you shouldn't leak. It should stay closed.
Hey, how are you? My name is Joey Solkowski, head football coach at Monroe Area High School. Just want to take some time today to recap a little bit of our game this past Friday night versus Loganville. Didn't have an opportunity to come out on top, but definitely had a lot of positives that we saw this past weekend. 28-12 was the final. Obviously a big rivalry game here in Walton County. For us, learning a new offensive system, defensive system for our kids. It's taking a little bit longer than we would have hoped, but we definitely still have a lot of positives that we're building on moving forward to this week versus Walnut Grove, first home game of the 2014 season for us. had an opportunity to have a lot of guys shine for us a little bit this past Friday night. Jacob Olsen obviously having an opportunity to make his first start at quarterback since last year. Had an opportunity during a couple games last year to play as a reserve role, but obviously our new full-time starter for us at the quarterback position did very well for us. I want to say he had a pretty decent completion percentage. I mean, we threw the ball around a little bit more than I know people are accustomed to seeing here in Monroe. I want to say he was 12 for 16, which is definitely not a bad percentage. Close to a 200-yard game, 1 touchdown in the air, also 1 interception. So definitely some positives there. He's been a little bit banged up all summer long, obviously. Playing multiple sports, baseball, basketball, football as well. He was a little bit banged up this summer, so he's getting a little bit more healthy, and we thought he had a very good game for us. Another guy that thought had a pretty decent game for us, really on all sides, offensively speaking, defensively speaking, as well as special teams, is Alfred King, just a junior, lined up at various different positions for us this past week. Lined up as a receiver, lined up as a quarterback for a few snaps as well, starting at free safety for us on defense and handling some of the return duties in the special teams. He had a very, very good game for us, and we're fortunate to have him, and very blessed that he's really taken to the new system as he has, and he's had a chance to really shine. Some keys and things that we probably need to improve upon. Obviously, we definitely had too many penalties this past week. Some personal foul penalties late in the game that we definitely could have done without. But overall, getting more consistent play up front from our offensive line, defensive line. Those are some of the things that we're definitely looking for, and breaking in a bevy of new starters, so to speak. We have, I know our kids are tired of hearing it, and we don't like to preach on it, but we do have a very young team. A lot of our kids have not seen a lot of varsity action, and so it's new to them, and to package that with learning a new system on both sides of the ball has been a little bit tougher than we had expected and the kids had expected, but definitely a lot of positives. Like I said, our skill position-wise, our wide receivers, our running backs, our defensive backs are guys that are rotating both ways, but have seen a lot more success overall than some of the other positions, and that's to be expected. That's where the bulk of our returners have come from, and guys that have seen a lot of time and a lot of action. So we're definitely pleased with their play, and just trying to build off of our some of the new spots. Obviously, breaking in 5 brand new starters on the offensive line is something that it's just gonna take time. Guys have to get better every week and continue to learn their assignments and execute, and hopefully week in and week out we get a little bit better. Then defensively speaking as well, very similar. A lot of new starters over on the defensive front. So having guys that are just getting reps and learning to get a little bit better is what we're looking for. Obviously, we're not excited to ever lose a football game, and I know a lot of the fans and supporters here have not been accustomed to losing a lot of football games over the last 2 years. So just working and having the kids trust in the system and knowing that we're going to get better week in and week out is what we're preaching, and we're confident that we'll be able to bounce back and hopefully put together a good game plan this upcoming week, and really encourage all the fans to come out and support the kids. They've worked very, very hard this summer, and even through fall camps and school has started, so anytime that they have an opportunity to shine and be showcased, we want as many fans and supporters out there that we can have, and so we're definitely looking forward to our first home opener here, Walnut Grove, another cross-county rival. They've got they've got some axes to grind as well. It was a pretty lopsided game last year, so for them that's good bulletin board material, and they're looking to to avenge a pretty nasty loss to us last year. So for us, we just have to go out. We have to execute. We have to be ready to to have their best game, and they're much improved. They beat Loganville in a first half scrimmage 2 weeks ago, and then obviously a big win for them this past week over Monticello. So they're riding high, and they're playing very well right now. So we have to make sure that we come out and do the things necessary that we have to do on our end, and hopefully everything will take care of itself. So we just ask that everybody come out and support support the Hurricanes this upcoming Friday, and look forward to seeing everybody out there.
Hey, thank you for watching. I'm Dina Huff, the Executive Director for the Partnership for Families, Children, and Youth. And about a year and a half ago, I think, we were here at the bridge with Miss Tammy Burt, and we were talking about some of the events and just talking about the school in general, about what they have to offer here for students with special needs. So I'm going to introduce Tammy to you again because she has a lot of new information, and this school has grown tremendously. So Tammy, tell us about what you have going on.
Thank you, Dina. We have grown over the last year and a half. We currently started this year with 4 times the amount of students we started last year with. So we've expanded the amount of grades. Initially, we opened up with just preschoolers, and we've expanded through middle school. We have an exciting new curriculum. We have been involved in the accreditation process, and so we're at the 2nd level there on that. And most recently, we've been approved to accept the Georgia Special Needs Funds, which is very exciting to us because it means that when a family comes to us, most often we don't have to tell them they can't come because of money. Most often they have those funds to be able to come, and that's very exciting to us. We've also hired a lot of new staff, and included in that is Ms. Tammy Weiniger, who's our Director of Educational Services. And she comes from a general ed background. And so part of the purpose at the Bridge is to be very inclusive and have typical children learning alongside children with special needs. We feel like if we can create that environment here, that it begins to spread into the community and makes a more welcoming community where people really value each other, no matter if they have special needs or the color of their skin or their age. We feel like we have a very good learning environment that mimics what a community is like. And so in addition to what we have going on here with our students, we've begun our Autism in the Real World workshops again. And those are for different groups. We have one coming up, and I don't know if I can tell you the date. We have one coming
that available
at the end.
Yeah.
We have one coming up that is for caregivers and babysitters, and the people will leave that workshop with CPR certification, and then techniques for dealing with sensory problems, for dealing with emergencies, for handling behavior problems, those kind of things. We're having one on October 2nd and 3rd for educators, paraprofessionals, therapists, those kind of people. And then those will be followed later in the year by one for first responders and one for churches, houses of faith. So educating our community in how to be welcoming and how to serve these families is also very, very important to us.
That is awesome. I know y'all have so much going on. Tammy, would you like to tell us a little bit about some of the students or what they're experiencing here?
Yes, I would love to. We have the exciting new curriculum that it has in each level. There's 3 different ways to present the information. There's different instructional methods, and also we have the availability if one student's advanced in math, they can go to a different classroom to meet with a different teacher on that level, so they co-teach. And even the Bridge is not only for special needs students, it's for everyone. So we have the availability to our curriculum follows the state standards. So any student that's here, we will keep them on the level that they need to be at. But in addition to that, we don't just let them stop at that grade level. We take them further. We have the capability here to take them as far as they can go in each subject. So that's really exciting to us, because we can really use their strengths to get them as far as their up to their full potential, and that helps them with their weaknesses. And we've learned how to take where they're strong and help them to grow where they're struggling. So it's really a partnership between teachers. It's a partnership with the families. We're really excited about the ability to help them reach their full potential in every student.
Great. And I know the Bridge is not your typical public school, so it's a smaller, smaller class size for the students. So I'm sure that they can excel a little faster and feel a little more comfortable in your setting as opposed to the regular school system. And I know we were discussing earlier the praises that you received from the parents and the students. Let's not leave them out, because the students are thriving here. And I think it's such a wonderful opportunity for students to feel comfortable in their setting and to know that, they're not being teased, they're not being looked at in a different light, to feel comfortable where they're at. And one thing that really excited me, and I want you to share a little bit about the cosmetology component of the Bridge, if you can.
We are continuously adding new facets, and if you look on our web page, you see things that are already opening and things that are in the future, and a couple things that are have been on the horizon that are very near opening now. One is the beauty shop. It's very difficult for some of our students to get their hair cut. Some of them come in and their parents will say, well, I got this side last night. I'll get the other side tomorrow night if I can get him to lay his head the other way, So it's just really stressful to them. So we have 2 cosmetologists that are familiar with how to cut children's hair, that have difficulty with the sensory components that go along with that. And they'll be joining us on certain days of the week to cut hair. Also, some of the parents, when they drop their children off for school or for therapy, they can get their hair cut. But again, down the road a little bit further, when we open our portion that is for vocational training, that'll be a learning site. We're very intentional about planning our learning sites to be varied, because sometimes people going into vocational training, maybe there's only 1 or 2 things that are being offered, and it's not something that interests them or something that they're skilled at. And so our plan is, when we open that facet, for them to have a lot of different things to choose from. And so we already have someone on board that will teach that cosmetology portion, and we may have some students that would be able to wash towels and sweep floors. We might have others that show a real gift at even cutting hair or doing nails or those kind of things that go on in that beauty salon. Another facet that will be opening in the very near future is our game room for teenagers. And so that's a place where typical teenagers and teenagers with special needs will be able to join together and just have an evening out. A lot of our parents tell us that their kids just need to make friends. That breaks a parent's heart when they see their child doesn't have any friends. And so that'd be a good place for, number one, them to make friends, and number two, when a typical teenager begins to get to know a teenager with special needs, they begin to value them. They begin to see that they're brave because they work through struggles, or that they have some real talents that maybe they didn't notice at first. And they begin to value each other a little bit more, and we very much want to create that.
So you're probably, from what I hear you say, that you're going to open that up to churches and for a lot of other kids to come in and kind of bond and make that relationship with the kids here. And I think that's wonderful, because it actually for your kids here, for the typical teenager that we see every day. There's a special place in everyone's heart to work together. So I think that's a wonderful opportunity to bond those kids and build relationships that way.
Yes, we want the community to be involved here, and they have been. I mean, all these books you see in this library have been donated, and we've built quite an extensive library, not only for the kids, but for the adults as well. You can get a library card and check out books from the bridge. So we're excited about all the help and partnership with the community. I mean, they're so excited, and they come here and they never want to leave. I mean, we've had teenagers here working 30 hours a week, volunteering this summer. I mean, that's just amazing in itself, and most of them we grabbed up and put on our staff. They're college students, and they're incredible. And those are the kind of interaction they're going to get when they come to that community, the game room. They'll be there, and it's really good. It helps the typical teenagers grow as well, and not be so self-absorbed into their own world and what they think is so important when they see the struggles of some of these kids here. And we've seen some of our middle schoolers really get connected already this year, and it just makes me so happy every time I walk into that classroom and I see those friendships form and those common bonds. We have a couple of boys who know baseball stats. They know baseball stats like you just wouldn't believe, but they each had that. So it's really a great thing to see them build those bonds and friendships that are important to all of us.
And I hear that some of your students are even giving the teachers ideas about what they can do and what they can come up with as far as the education. So that's wonderful. And any other workshops or anything you want to include, Tammy?
We do have a few other things. We have our pottery studio has classes on the third Monday of every month in the evening, and those are open to the public. There's a small fee to cover the cost of clay and that sort of thing. And it's been a lot of fun. There's been a lot of the community that's come to that. And then we have the music therapy. Our music therapists are here on Tuesday and Thursday providing music therapy and classes for our students. But then they're going to be starting on Friday doing a workshop that's for the whole family. And so there's a cost for the whole family to attend, and they get music CDs and all the kinds of different things to go with it. But it's a combination of music therapy and what would be kind of like kinder music. So it's a neat thing for the whole family. That will be starting later in September. And we have a retreat coming up for moms. It's kind of a different retreat. A lot of our moms can't really leave their kids overnight. That's really difficult for them. So it'll be 2 days, but they won't spend the night. On the Friday evening, August 19th, I think. It's either 18th and 19th or 19th and 20th. We'll have that information at the end. But on the Friday night, they'll have a nice dinner. We'll have a speaker. It'll be Kate Connor, who is an author that lived in this area and has moved to North Carolina. And she has a child with special needs. And then on Saturday, there'll be workshops they can attend, but also massages and haircuts and manicures and all kinds of pampering them just a little bit, recognizing the struggles they go through and that they just need a little TLC and a time to come together with other people that are in different places on the same journey that they're on.
Oh, it sounds like you have your hands full and you have a lot going on. And if somebody from the community wanted to volunteer, what are the steps they need to take to offer their services to the bridge?
They can give us a call, and we would send them a volunteer application. We do a background check on adult volunteers when they come in. But sometimes we have groups come, like from school organizations or church organizations, and sometimes it's just individuals that have an interest. And so we have them fill out that form, and we kind of talk to them about their interests, because we have people that come in and say, I love to paint, give me space to paint. And then we have other people that say, I hate to paint, but I'm really good at helping a child with reading, And so we're able to use them in a lot of different ways by kind of gauging what their interest level is in different areas. But it's fun when you walk through the building. I can say, this community group painted this room, and this church took 100,000 staples out of this wall, or it's really been beautiful how our community supported us. We really feel welcomed in the community.
And I was surprised when I walked in the door today and how many changes have taken place since the last time we filmed. It's like, it's a real school. It's a real school building, and I think it's a wonderful thing that you all do here, and I praise you for what you do. And if we can help out in any way, just let us know, and we can corral people to come help with events and stuff that you may have. So thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it, as always.
Thank you for having us.
And if you ever have any questions for us at the partnership, you can give me a call at 770-207-6060. Thank you for watching.
Hello, I'm Kenny Sargent with Keep Walton Beautiful in the Walton County Recycling Center, and want to thank you all for tuning in today. Just wanted to remind everyone of our Rivers Alive event that's coming up October the 11th. That's a Saturday, and we're looking for a good turnout again. We're going to be out cleaning up some of the waterways here in our county. We want to keep all the trash we can out of our rivers and streams. I did want to encourage anyone that may have some areas near any waterways in the county that they see that could use a little cleaning, to feel free to call us. We're always looking for new areas to clean up, and we're kind of looking a little bit harder this year to find some of the dirtier areas that we can make a bigger difference in. So any help from you guys would be great, and so we're excited about our Rivers Alive event. Another thing that's coming up is our America Recycles Day, and this year we will be doing the paint recycling again. We'll be doing that on November 15th. That's also a Saturday. We haven't worked out all the details yet, but I did want to start getting word out. We get a lot of calls about accepting paint, and we normally don't do that throughout the year. And I know it's one of those items that's really difficult to get rid of. And we're trying to do all we can to help the people get rid of any excess paint they have at home. So it will be something very similar to last year. And again, that's going to be November 15th on America Recycles Day. That will be our America Recycles Day event. And we'll be coming out a little more with details. We're thinking about probably doing another shoebox recycling event as part of the America Recycles Day event. So we probably will be asking you guys to bring in a pair of old, slightly worn shoes, in addition to any paint you have at home. And of course, we will take all of the shoes for free. And one other thing I just wanted to touch base on, just to remind people, we've been having a little bit of an issue here at the recycling center, is to remind you that we do not accept any yard waste, which would include shrubs, leaves, grass clippings, anything of that nature. All of that stuff needs to go to an inert landfill, and we have several here in our county, and we'd be happy to give you the numbers to any of those places, and they'll be happy to accept those things, but we don't do that here. And lastly, I just want to encourage any of you out there that may be watching and really don't know exactly what we do and what all goes on here, to come out and see what we have to offer. I personally really think we have a lot to offer all the citizens here, and it's very important that we do take advantage of all the resources we have here as far as recycling and different ways to conserve. So come on out and see us. We'll be happy to walk you through and let you guys see what we do here. That's what we enjoy doing. And again, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.
Hey Hey, I'm Isaac with Reboot Computer Company, and we're going to give you the Reboot Tech Tip today. I just wanted to talk a little bit about computer repair. We have a lot of people ask us, is it worth it to fix this computer? It's so-and-so old, and, I just don't know. So we're going to try and give you a little idea about what, if it's old, or is it worth it or whatever. But anyway, so typically I will say there's an average cost of computer repair. You're probably looking at right around somewhere between 80 and 100 bucks to fix a computer, and that's most things. When you start replacing hardware, like if you have to replace a hard drive, you're probably looking at a minimum of about 150, 160 bucks to do that. Viruses, you're looking about 80 or 90 bucks, and those prices are pretty industry standard. I will say that some places you go, they're going to charge you to look at your computer. They'll do a diagnostic fee. Some folks do 20 bucks. Some folks do, I guess I've seen as much as 100 bucks, $98. I'm sorry. And then some places will actually put that towards the cost of the repair. Here at Reboot, we actually do free diagnostics, but and some other places will do that for you also. But anyway, so as far as age of computers, I will say it definitely does depend on the age. If you've got one, I would say that's probably 8 years or older. If it was me, I probably wouldn't repair it. Your typical desktop computer, you should get at least about 10 years out of it. That I want to say that's pretty close to the minimum amount of life on a desktop. Laptops are designed to last at least 5 years. So the laptop, sometimes you might want to think about what you're doing before you repair them. If it's over 100, 150 bucks, sometimes it's cheaper just to go buy a new one, or sometimes it's a better idea just to go buy a new one because it's going to last longer. And we will actually tell people that a lot, really. If you can afford to go buy a new computer and you have one that's over 5 years old, go buy you a new computer. You're just going to get a lot more life out of it. Some people get attached to things, and so they want to hold on to it, and so they'll spend a bunch of money to fix them, and that's okay too. Some of the other stuff that we can fix, or that places can fix, is if you've got a lot of pop-ups, that are just popping up all over the place when the computer comes on, or if you're on the internet or any of that stuff, and that stuff is actually relatively cheap to fix. A lot of times that stuff is just called adware, spyware. And most shops won't charge you a whole lot, to fix stuff like that. The other thing too that's real smart, just while we're talking about repair, if you are using your computer and you think it's gotten slow, or it has gotten slow, especially over time, computers are typically not designed to be slow, unless they're really old. But so when you first bought it, typically the computer's pretty quick, it's snapping around the internet real good. Your computer should still be like that 5 or 6 years later. And if it's not, you might want to take it to a place and let them look at it. Because computers that are slow typically have some major issues that are going on, and it's only going to get worse over time. So definitely I would recommend taking it to a shop somewhere. But anyway, that's it for today. And again, I'm Isaac Rhodes with Reboot Computer Company, giving you the Reboot Tech Tip.
Hello Walton County, this is Kevin Littlewood, Chairman's Report, Walton Entertainment and Channel 16. It's hot August, it's about going to be 100 degrees outside today, so we're inside and talking a little bit about projects and things we got going on in Walton County. Some of you may or may not know Charlotte Rowell Boulevard opened up on the Friday before school started. It's extension of 138 up to Highway 11 toward the Board of Education and Monroe High School up that way. That's a relief road there. DOT had done some studies in the past, and a lot of the folks that traveled out 138 got onto 78, got off at Highway 11, and then went north from there. So that was one of the big reasons that route was chosen. Also, I know the concerns are of going toward Chick-fil-A and Walmart, that the traffic still backs up. Future projects there will be a extra lane just beyond the bridge going up by Walmart in front of Chick-fil-A and on over to Martin Luther King and Michael Etchison out at near Zaxby's and Longhorn. That'll carry traffic and cars through. That'll be a future project, and it'll help move. Also, another project will be a westbound on-ramp. You'll be able to go toward Loganville from on this, and so that's some future plans. Transportation dollars is really thin, state and federal. Congress did not pass a new transportation bill before they come home for summer. They did vote to extend the transportation bill or just keep it going at the same dollar amount, and that's not good because transportation across the country is really needing increase. And so I was at a meeting the other day with the former Secretary of Transportation, and he said that a big problem that Georgia has is Georgia does not have a congressman sitting on the Transportation Committee. And he said if you don't have somebody at the table, you have nobody representing your projects or trying to get anything there. So I'm hoping some of our new congressmen that we are voting in will extend a hand and try to get on that Transportation Committee, because if you travel around this country, you see a lot of the other states, they're getting projects, and Georgia's not getting a lot of major projects, and it's beginning to be a more of a gridlock because we are attractive to everybody. People are liking the move to Georgia because of our climate, our jobs, our low taxes. Caterpillar's hiring, they're going to be 1,200 eventually. Baxter will eventually be 1,600 employees. And Hard Labor Creek is going to bring a lot of projects to Walton County. So you've got to get somebody there and get things there. So be careful as you travel out the Charlotte-Rowell Boulevard. People still learning it. The red lights are there. It's posted at 45. Be a heed to that, because I've heard some complaints that people are running in excess of 60 miles an hour up and down through there. So law enforcement will probably be out making you abide by that 45 mile an hour speed limit very soon. If you have any questions or concerns, please give me a call, 770-267-1316. Thank you.
Hi, this is Jody Johnson. I'm here with the Recreation Report. I'm glad to say that our seasons here in the fall have begun. Our baseball and softball seasons began this past Monday, and with a little bit of rain at the end of the day, but the games went off real well. We have a huge turnout for our baseball and softball program. I was out at Crystal Park where we dedicated Field 5 to Ronnie Harris, much deserved for all the things that he had done for baseball and for the program here in the city of Monroe and Walton County. So we appreciate Ronnie Harris, and we've dedicated a field there at Crystal Park to him. So congratulations to him and his family. And Ronnie was one that umpired for years here in Walton County. I don't know that he ever charged a dime for any of the games he ever did. He also went on to in 2002 to umpire for the Little League World Series, the one you're seeing on TV now on ESPN and ABC, the Little League World Series. He actually umpired a game in 2002 for that. So congratulations to Ronnie, and we hope that he has a great retirement from all the things he's done, and a well-deserved dedication to him. But our baseball season kicked off well. Our football program, now that the weather is changing, it is football season. We have our helmet going on here. So good luck to all of our Packers teams. I know that's what we've always called it, the Packer program, but we also have Packers, Vikings. We have a lot of different teams. Almost 60 teams in Walton County playing football this year. And the football and cheerleading program began this past Saturday, and we play most of our games on Mondays and Tuesdays at Felker Park here in Monroe. They play out at West Walton Park and then at South Walton Park also. We have a few weekend games, but most of our games are on Mondays and Tuesdays. With that being said, there's two things that I want to talk about that concern, and it's mostly football because people do consider that a contact sport, but it could be soccer, it could be baseball, it could be anything. But two things. One is hydration. Hydration is something you need to do to prepare for any activity you're going to do, whether you're going out jogging or not. And hydration should be done 24 hours in advance. You need to start drinking water knowing that you're going to have that type of activity. And if you're one that does it all the time, then you need to continue to drink water. Most people say that you need to drink your weight divided by 2 in ounces. So if you're a 200-pound individual, you need to drink 100 ounces a day of water to keep yourself hydrated. So that's one important thing. The second thing that I want to talk about, it's a little bit more in detail, is about concussions. Things that parents and coaches and volunteers need to know about concussions. A concussion is a type of traumatic brain injury that changes the way the brain normally works. A concussion is caused by a bump or blow or a jolt to the head or the body that causes the head and brain to move rapidly back and forth. It could be mild or it could be a severe bump. Either way, it could cause a concussion. And you need to be looking for signs or symptoms that could cause a concussion. Signs and symptoms of a concussion can show up right away, or it could show up a day or two later. If an athlete reports one or more symptoms of a concussion, then you need to contact a physician and definitely stay out of the activity that you were in. Signs that one of our volunteers that you may see is that the player appears to be dazed or stunned. Is confused about his position or assignment when you know that he knows that assignment. He forgets the instructions that you just gave him. He's unsure of the game, the score, or the opponent, anything that you're doing. He's moving around clumsily, loses consciousness, even a brief time if he's losing consciousness. If he can't recall events prior to what just happened. If you can't recall events of the hit that he might have just happened. If any of those are happening, you're a volunteer or you're one that's near the program, please let the coach or someone know that person possibly could have had a concussion. For an athlete, if you're the person that has had that, things that you should know, if you have a headache or pressure to your head, nausea or vomiting, if you have trouble balancing or a little dizzy, if you have double vision or if you have blurry vision, sensitivity to light, sensitivity to noise, these are all things that you should recognize yourself that you possibly could be having a concussion. A few things that you might need to know about concussions is that most concussions occur without loss of consciousness. Doesn't mean you get knocked out to have a concussion. Athletes who have or at any point in their lives have had a concussion are increased to have another one, because you can have multiple. And young children are more likely to, and teens are more likely to get a concussion and take longer to recover than adults. So the kids are really more susceptible to them and they take longer. Danger signs for concussions. In rare cases, dangerous blood clots may form on the brain in a person with a concussion. It could crowd the brain against the skull. An athlete should receive immediate medical attention if something like this is going on. If one pupil is larger than the other, if he gets drowsy or can't be waking up, he's wanting to go to sleep, if a headache that will not go away, weakness or numbness, decreased coordination, if he repeats vomiting, just cannot stop, slurred speech, convulsions or seizures, he has unusual behavior or loss of consciousness. If he has any of those, he needs to seek immediate help. Go to the emergency room and get to a physician as quickly as possible. Why should an athlete report their symptoms? If an athlete has a concussion, his or her brain needs to heal. While an athlete's brain is still healing, she is much more likely to have another concussion. Repeat concussions can increase the time it takes to recover. And in rare cases, repeat concussions in young athletes can result in brain swelling or permanent damage to the brain. They can even be fatal. So these things are important. You may feel fine if you've had a concussion, but it's very important that you allow your brain time to heal. Don't just jump right back out onto the court or the field to continue playing. Even in cheerleading or baseball, you got hit in the head. These are times that you need to step back and know what's really important, which is your health. It's not necessarily making sure that we win a football or a baseball game. And what should you do if you think your athlete has a concussion? If you suspect that your athlete has a concussion, remove the athlete from play and seek medical attention. Do not try to judge the severity of the injury yourself. Keep the athlete out of play the day of the injury and until a health care provider has given you permission to come back. And that's something that we really are looking for in the recreation department, and I'm sure each high school as well. If a person that shows signs of a concussion, you're coming out of the ball game, you should not be pushed to go back in, even if the parent or the child wants to go back in, if you think that they're showing any signs of a concussion. So we want to keep you safe. We want you to continue playing. Recreation is supposed to be fun, and we want all our activities. These things do not happen very frequently here with the Parks and Recreation Department, but we do think that education is important. All of this information that I've gone over with you is on our website at waltoncountyga.gov. You can go there and you can read it all, and I'm sure there's lots of websites and information. So if your child is playing some type of contact sport, or if he's at a non-contact sports and accidentally does hit his head with a small jolt, please get it checked out, because that could be one of the worst things that could happen as your child is hurt for life. So we also have other activities going on now that we've gotten our fall baseball, softball, football, cheerleading, all those activities going. Now it's time to look towards basketball, our winter sports that are coming up. Our basketball registration will be September 13th through the 20th. That's a Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Saturdays will be open 10 to 12. So try to get in. The cost of the basketball program is $60 per participant for in-county residents. It's $120 if you know anybody out of the county that wants to come in. It's girls and boys ages 5 to 17, and we have about 1,000 kids that participate in our basketball program. It seems to grow every year. So we look forward to seeing you in our basketball program. Come out and join and look at us at the with all the ball games that we have going on. It seems like every night we have huge crowds at our parks that are there to watch the kids, whether you have a niece or nephew or grandchild. Come out and watch them play. It's great recreation fun. Also, come join our community centers. There's nothing like the community centers with all the fitness equipment that we have to offer. The 1/16th mile walking trail. We have lots of new equipment that people are just raving over and trying to get their time on that new equipment. So come out, get in shape, and stay fit. But most of all, remember, stay healthy, and remember, sportsmanship starts at home. And so until next time, thank you very much.
Hi, this is Dr. Rebecca Anderson from Monroe Veterinary Clinic, and I wanted to speak to you briefly today about the risk of heat stroke in your pets. Over the next few days, it's supposed to be extremely hot here in our area, and we need to keep in mind how dangerous that can be for our pets. Pets can quickly overheat, even just sitting out in the yard if they don't have shade or water available. It's best that your pets remain in an air-conditioned area, especially during the hottest part of the day. If that's not possible, make sure they have large, multiple sources of water outside, as water bowls can evaporate quickly during the heat of the day. Also, make sure there is shade available, and even something like a plastic baby pool for larger dogs can be quite helpful in cooling them. If you have a dog that has sort of a short face, like a bulldog or a Shih Tzu or Pekingese, these dogs are particularly prone to overheating, as they are not able to pant as well as dogs that have a longer face. So you want to make sure you take extra precautions with them and really keep them inside altogether. You also have to limit playtime with your pets in this weather. A lot of people assume that their dogs will know when to stop when they're getting too hot, and they do not. If you're throwing the ball with your dog or chasing them around the yard, you really have to limit it to no more than just 3 to 5 minutes. They will not know when to stop themselves, even if they're getting dangerously hot. If you're playing with your pet outside and you notice that they are panting heavily and unable to slow down panting, or if their gums have taken on a dark brick red color, these are signs that they are overheating. You need to stop activity immediately, bring them inside, try to shower or hose them off with some tepid water, and if possible, check their temperature rectally at home. You don't need a special device to do this. Any over-the-counter thermometer from the grocery store or pharmacy is fine. The temperature shouldn't be no more than 102.5 degrees. If it's higher than that, you need to seek care immediately. Anything in the range of 104 to 107 is dangerous, but typically treatable. Once temperatures get in excess of 108 or 109, those pets unfortunately typically will not make it. So it is important to limit activity outside and act accordingly if you think your pet is in danger. If you have any questions about this, of course, you can call us anytime here at the clinic, and we look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.
Hey, thanks for tuning in today. As always, we're going to show you some of the dogs and cats that are here at the Walton County Animal Control Shelter. But first, just want to give another word of advice. You know, it's August. We're still approaching some of those hot days. Yeah, we'll get some cool nights here and there, but you know, it is really hot out. Right now, it's just 11 in the morning. It's about 95 degrees and humid, and I'm sweating just standing here for a minute. So think about your dog that's outside. You know, you need to have plenty of shade for your dog. You need to have adequate shelter and plenty of water for the dogs, because they don't sweat like you and I do, and so they can easily overheat. And it can be an animal cruelty charge if your dog is found dead in the sun. So you just want to be sure to do what's right by your pet. Think to yourself, if you didn't want to lay out there in that sun, your dog probably doesn't want to either. So just do what's right by your dog, have plenty of water, have shade, have shelter, and just think about them first. And so now we're going to show you some of the dogs and cats that are here at the animal shelter.
Here we have a coonhound mix. She's a female. She's about 3 years old. Her name is Dixie. She is already spayed, but she needs to be the only dog in the house. She does not get along with others.
This is a husky mix. Her name's Chloe. She's looking for a good home. A lot of energy.
We got a female Chihuahua mix. She's probably about 2 years old. She was brought in as a stray. She was running down the road. She is not spayed, but she is up for adoption, and we have several that are up for adoption.
This is a mixed dog, a male. Very sweet. Looking for a good home. We do have one rescue inquiry, and that's all.
We have a litter of probably lab mixed puppies. This one's a female. These two are males, about 3 months old. They have been vaccinated and wormed, and they are looking for a home.
This is a hound mix, female, about 1 year old, looking for a good home. She's very sweet.